What's up and welcome to the Sam Dracula channel, Charlotte Hornets fan channel, and this is going to be the last pre-draft prospect video I do before July 29th. I'm going to do a live stream during the draft right here on the channel, and then I'm going to have like a clipped version of my reaction to the Hornets pick that same day, if I can figure it out. If I can't, no matter what, I'll be live streaming on the channel during the draft, so if you want to come hang out, please feel free to do so. I'm also giving away this beautiful Adam Morrison figurine. If you want this, join my Discord. There's a channel in there called Giveaways. Click the bot, the celebration emoji in the bot will enter you in, and that's all you need to do. I'll DM the winner. That'll be randomly selected. I'll get your information and I'll mail you that figurine. The bot will pick the winner on July 30th. So if you want it, good luck to you. You have some time to enter. Now let's get into the reason you clicked on the video, right? I've done videos on prospects that the Hornets could maybe draft if certain things fall a certain way on draft night on individual players. I can't be bothered to make any more of these. So I'm gonna do one last video, this video here, a tier list, ranking all the guys that could be Hornets draft picks, depending on how things shake out on draft night, okay? And then, we'll see what happens after that. Let me know your feedback. I'm gonna have a link to this tier list in the description if you wanna make one of your own. So disclaimer time, we're only here to talk about players that could be around that 11th range. So no Cade Cunningham, no Evan Mobley, no Suggs, no Green, no Kuminga, etc. No Scotty Barnes. Those guys are in a different stratosphere as far as draft prospects go. Doesn't mean the guys in our range can't be really good players too. Knock on wood, shouts to Halliburton, who went 12th last year. There's plenty of gems to be found outside the top 4, top 5, right? Got to tell yourself that. Got to convince yourself of that when you're picking 11, innit? All right, so I have 15 players that I'm going to populate this board with. Humdiddly D, we're talking top tier. Guys that would make me want to do a backflip in my living room if the Hornets draft them, right? That's top tier. Next level down, small dub, okay? Guys that are not top tier, but still very good, guys that I would consider a win on draft night, at least with that 11th overall pick. No second round pick, we're just only talking the 11th overall pick right now. Middle tier is okay, I guess. No offense to anybody that ends up in that tier, but we're talking about a player that won't have me very excited on draft night. But who knows? Maybe I'll talk myself into it later on. That's kind of why it's in the middle. Below that, wish we traded the pick. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory, right? And then rip. So of the guys that I think are in the Hornets range, depending on a bunch of different variables, with 10 other picks, I want to start with James Bouknight and pop him right here. I think he's the exact player the Hornets need right now, especially with the uncertainty behind the restricted free agency of Devontae Graham and Malik Monk. If those guys stay, if those guys go, I think Bouknight can either replace or play with any one of those individuals, not to mention LaMelo and Terry Rozier. So I think Bouknight's scoring and athleticism will be key immediately. And then, as he develops his game, etc., I think he'd be a really good pro. So anything, honestly, I think anybody that ends up with him is catching a huge dub. Hopefully he's there when the Hornets draft at 11, but who knows? Probably not though, probably not. For this, we're talking about not trading up, not trading down, remaining at 11, okay, for all of these players through that lens. And for that reason, Garuba gets an okay, I guess. I know the Charlotte Hornets need to improve their defense. And by all accounts, Garuba is an elite defender already. And that can be very useful. Super useful for this current squad as they look to avenge last season's woes, right? Their shortcomings last year. Garuba fits that need in a very big way, but he offers nothing really offensively from a shooting the ball perspective, which is also a very big need. And I say that to say that any player that the Hornets draft at 11 in the 4 to 5, power forward to center role, the Hornets will have to fortify that position, that skill set with a free agent signing or a trade, because Nick Richards is a big question mark. Vernon Carey is a question mark. Zeller and Biz are question marks. Garuba, in this scenario, if they draft him 11, he's not alone going to get it done in the front court by himself or with Vernon Carey or with Nick Richards. Like, that's a lot of unproven energy there that needs to be fortified. I'm not sold on the offensive bigs that are available in free agency or in the trade market. And for my money, I would rather go, and this is a spoiler for later, I guess, with a big that can score with the potential to become a shooter, and then fortifying the front court, like backing up, rounding out that part of the court with a big in free agency that's more defensive, which I think there are more of those defensive-minded players available than offensive-minded bigs available in free agency on the cheap, potentially, or in the trade market. So drafting Garuba at 11 doesn't really excite me, but I think he can offer something immediately, which would be useful. So that's how he kind of ends up in the middle there, you know? Also, Garuba's rebounding would be very useful. I forgot to mention that. Up next, Josh Giddey, okay? He's an individual who I could talk myself into or out of really quickly. For that reason, I'm putting him here. And okay, I guess. I love his size and position. It's a positional area of need. And I think he'd pair nicely in the second unit with Jalen McDaniels, Malik Monk, Devontae Graham, etc., with his playmaking ability and his like mature mindset, having played with pros in Australia. That deserves some credit, you know? And with that comes some upside you may not see with some other players. So I think I'm gonna put him here in okay, I guess. I kind of want to put him here, I can't lie, but for now, I want to have him in okay, I guess. Like, I'm not loving his 3-point percentage, being a 6'8" small forward, and his comps being guys like Joe Ingles and Kyle Anderson. I'd expect that shooting percentage from distance to be higher. Up next, Isaiah Jackson. I'm putting him here, only because I think there's a better version of him in this draft. I hope the Hornets don't take a center just because they need a center. As crazy that may sound, because they need everything. So the Hornets need to look at everybody, every position, every skill set imaginable. If Isaiah Jackson is sitting there and they like him, fair play. If they think he's the best player available, go for it. But I hope that's not the case if there's a better guard or wing sitting there and they're like, oh no, we already have Devontae, Malik, LaMelo, Rozier. We can't take a guard. No, you can take a guard because Terry Rozier's contract is expiring next season. Malik and Devontae are restricted free agents. A lot of uncertainty in the backcourt, even though it appears as an area of strength. The small forward position needs some love, as does the power forward position. Miles and PJ can't do everything, you know? For that reason, and because I think there's a better version of the prospect, Isaiah Jackson, no offense to the actual human being, just going off what individuals say about the player, I'm putting him, wish we traded the pick for now. Jalen Johnson, he goes right there next to him. He does nothing for me. Nothing I've seen or read about Jalen Johnson gets me excited about what he would bring to the Hornets this season. I don't think Jalen Johnson can contribute in year one. 4 years from now, he could be the best player in the draft. Who the hell knows? But for year one, it doesn't do anything for me. So if we walk away with him in year one, I'm like, man, what? We need guys that can help us now. So that's why he's there. I would rather the Hornets use the 11th overall pick in a trade to bring in an NBA ready player for that position instead of drafting Jalen Johnson. My opinion is only based off the fact we haven't seen him play very much, okay? I don't care that he left Duke early. I actually like that. Get your money, kid. But the sample size is too small for me to have a firm opinion on his skill set. So that's why he's there. Next up is the guy I was referencing before as the better version of Isaiah Jackson, Kai Jones, okay? I'm putting him in the small dub row. As a rim runner, as a potential shot blocker, as a rebounder, he brings a lot. I think he needs to work on his offensive game, but that will come in time. So I'd be pretty happy with Kai Jones at 11, can't lie. And I think he has a very good chance of being there at that spot. From all the different mock drafts I was looking at online. It's a weird thing because I have him above Garuba, who's a much better accomplished defender than Kai Jones is. But I look at Kai Jones as having more upside because of his athleticism. He's a better athlete than Garuba, and he's also bigger. Like he's a legit center where Garuba really isn't. And that's why I have these bigs like labeled this way. Another super fun athlete, the first guy I made a video on in this series, Keon Johnson. And that video, side note, that video sucked to edit because YouTube kept blocking all the game footage. Like I kept getting copyright claims on the game footage I was using in that video. That's why there's no real game footage in it or any of the other ones, because it's a pain in the ass. So that's why you're getting a tier list instead of like a highlight reel on these guys on this channel. Thanks, YouTube. Keon Johnson, I'm putting small dub, but behind Kai Jones. So, you know, Kai Jones and then him. I'd be more excited about Kai than Keon for a few reasons, but mainly the reason why he's up here is because I think he's the most fun option. Imagine LaMelo running the break with Keon, Malik, and Miles with him. Just the idea of pushing the pace and the just flat out lob potential with these guys would be just next level, absolute next level. The Hornets would have a real identity as a squad, one that other teams would struggle to replicate. You know, there's an opportunity there, drafting him at 11 if he's there, to make a real different identity, make this roster unique versus chasing other blueprints other teams have found success in, which is nothing wrong with. Chasing the meta, there's nothing wrong with it, you know? But going with the hyper athletes could be something different than we've seen thus far. And, you know, it's probably the reason we haven't seen it thus far, because it may not work. But who knows? It could work. Maybe. Just maybe. So if the Hornets draft Keon Johnson, they're not getting a shooter, but they are getting a guy that works hard, a guy that's good defensively, and a guy that's a super athlete, which is really good. And, you know, there's substance along with the fun there with him as a prospect. Up next, Corey Kispert, okay? We're talking shooters here. And I think that's a big area of need for the Hornets. And I think I'm gonna put him above Keon because we're talking day one, big time skills. I look at Kispert as a dude who can bomb in threes, whether he's playing with Devontae or LaMelo Ball. He can shoot off the catch, off the dribble, which that's already such a viable skill set. Devontae was shooting 8.7 threes per game, around 38%, right, on the season. Malik, 5 threes per game, 40% from distance. Homie, Kispert, shot 44% from 3. If those guys play together, if one replaces the other, that is a small dub. He looks to be a guy that can be a very valuable role player immediately, because I don't think, outside of Kai Jones, if they draft him, maybe Isaiah Jackson, I don't know, probably not, but none of these guys will start for the Hornets in their rookie year, right? With the roster looking like the way it is right now. So we're looking at guys who contribute in that second unit, or with the first unit as like the first half of the first quarter kind of flips over around the 6-minute mark. Kispert can play with everybody. With LaMelo, without LaMelo, he can get a shot off. Like, I like that a lot. That's a very valuable skill set. For that reason, I have him above Keon, but behind Kai Jones. Up next, my guy, Moses Moody, okay? I am putting him, wait, I can't do it. Wait, do I do it like this? There we go. I'm putting him above Kai Jones, but below Book Knight. He just checks all the boxes, right? He's a guard, an NBA-ready guard. He has the measurables already. He has a skill set already as a shooter and defender. He puts in the work. He's an effective rebounder. What's not to like about that? I think him and Book Knight can contribute right away in that second unit. Moody, Book Knight, I look at those guys as gentlemen that can contribute right away as second or third guard options off the bench in year one. And who knows, Rozier leaves as a free agent in the summer. Maybe so, I don't know. Maybe we're looking at LaMelo's future running mate for the next 6, 7, 8, 9 years. Who knows? All right, up next, Sengun, okay? This is a tricky one for me, a very tricky one. I've talked myself into this kid fitting into Charlotte very well. So I know I like him more than Kai Jones. I know that. But I kind of want to put him here in Humdiddly. But I'm not. But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm doing it like this. I think I'm gonna do it like that. I feel good about that. And here's why, okay? Rebounding, check. Playmaking from the post, check, okay? He's a Turkish League MVP, check. He's won stuff on his own already. And he's like 18 years old as a teenager, right? He was the MVP of the Turkish League. 18.6 points per game, 8.9 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 1.3 steals, 1.5 blocks. This kid's a monster, and he could be very useful here in Charlotte in a very big way because Zeller, Biz, we know what they are. They have a very specific set of skills, okay? Vernon Carey and Nick Richards remain a question mark, okay? It's the overarching need for a center that we're all very familiar with, okay? This is gonna sound super oversimplified, but Hornets fans, you'll know what I'm saying when I say this. Sengun looks like a guy that can catch the ball in the post, and do something with it. He's not a face-up, jump shot, mid-range, three-point guy. Yet, his free throw percentage seems to be of an individual that can learn. Like, it's that old cliche that there's a projection of free throw percentage to three-point percentage in the future. But the perfect center isn't in the draft where the Hornets are drafting. So like it's not a thing. So at the very least, we know we're getting an offensive skilled center with the selection of Sengun at 11, maybe. Homie shot 81% from the free throw line, 21% from the three-point line, and 67% from two-pointers in his MVP year. It's very clear where his area of expertise is on the floor. If they draft Sengun, Kai Jones, or like I mentioned with Isaiah Jackson or Garuba, the Hornets will still need to address the center position in free agency or in the trade market, just so they're not undermanned in the position offensively or defensively, just depending on which rookie they draft. Because if they draft Sengun, they're gonna most likely have to bring in a defender, a defensive-minded big in free agency or the trade market, which I think is more plentiful than an offensive-minded big in the free agent or trade market. And you know what? I'm doing this. I don't care. I like Sengun. I'm here for it. I think I'd be gassed for that. And I'm actually putting Moses Moody up there too. I'll be very psyched about Moses Moody. This feels a lot better. It's more even. I like this. We got Franz Wagner up next. The Charlotte Hornets have a rich history of drafting a sibling of another individual. We have Jalen McDaniels, LaMelo Ball, obviously both twins. We have a Zeller. Who else do we have? Mad brothers on this team. And some aren't brothers. I'm putting Franz Wagner in okay, I guess. He can play defense and he can shoot. That's Garuba. Garuba can play defense, but he can't shoot. Giddey can't really shoot. I'm actually dropping down Giddey. I'm putting him here. I'm not into it. It's somewhere like this with Giddey and Jalen Johnson. He looks like an NBA player already, right? He has the size and height already, and he looks like a guy that can play the three, defend the three, play the four, defend the four. He has versatility about him. Not unlike Miles Bridges and PJ Washington. Adding more of those types of guys to this team, very useful, especially a dude who shot 38% from three and is a really good defender by all accounts. Right? They say he's a very good playmaker and has a great feel for the game. All great stuff. They say he doesn't have much of a game off the dribble, which is fine because if you're thinking about that second unit, he'll be playing with Devontae, Malik, maybe Bridges, I don't know. Those guys, they fit in well with those guys, Jalen McDaniels, like that group of players positionally. And also from a skill set point of view, if he's not a ball dominant individual looking for the ball off cuts, off like just from catch and shoot situations, that could be nice. It could be nice. And that's why he fits a need, has some upside, has a very defined set of skills. He gets an okay, I guess. Up next, we're going Chris Duarte from Oregon, okay? He's a guy who can shoot that ball, which is very enticing. 42% in college for him, 81% from the free throw line. Love it. But at 11, it's probably too high. If for whatever reason the Hornets found themselves in where let's say they draft Kispert. No, that's a bad example. Let's say they draft Keon Johnson, okay, for another team and then there's some other team drafts at 18 or something like that, and they do a swap plus a future pick, and the Hornets get Duarte, and the other team gets the guy that Hornets drafted at 11. That could be something, but strictly the 11th overall pick to Charlotte, I don't love it. He's somehow older than Obi Toppin, so at 11, I'm not really loving it. Trey Murphy from Virginia. Shouts to Muhammad for messaging me on Instagram about Trey Murphy. I didn't want to make a standalone video on him, but I'm glad I could talk about him now because if you Google his name, every article is like, yo, this kid is shooting up everybody's draft board. He's a prototypical 3-and-D guy. He's 6'7", 6'8". He can shoot the ball 43% from three. 93% from the free throw line. Like, somebody is getting an NBA ready player if they draft him or acquire him in some form or fashion. I'm putting him here as okay, I guess, because I don't know. Like, I like everything I've read about him, what he could bring to the league, but at 11 it seems high, and it feels like a reach, and it would fit in with the Hornets looking to win now. But if the Hornets could somehow trade back and select him later and pick up another asset, I'd feel more comfortable with that. Cameron Thomas from LSU seems to be a ball dominant score first guard. Okay. One scouting report said about him that he can be like in his early part of his career, be a bench scoring spark plug, which I know we have Malik Monk, but if the Hornets part away with Malik somehow and they draft Cameron Thomas at 11, could be something interesting. I'm putting him here in okay, I guess. I don't love his 3-point percentage at 32% in college. Still put up 23 points per game, 88% from the free throw line. He seems to have the tools there. Obviously not, he's not the top tier prospects. Like, none of these guys are the top tier prospects. That's why we're talking about them at 11. But he doesn't really do it for me to have him any higher, and definitely not any lower, because I think I like what he could bring. Davion Mitchell up next. Yeah. He's a point guard. He's 6 foot. We have Devontae. We have LaMelo Ball. I'm putting him here, okay? Because I got to put somebody there. I made the row. I gotta own it and have someone there. The rip isn't necessarily to him. It's a rip to Devontae Graham if they draft him at 11. I've seen a lot of glowing reviews and reports about him, his ball handling ability, his on-ball defense. He shot 44.7% from three in college, 64% from the free throw line, kind of trash. But as a backup point guard or a guard alongside of LaMelo Ball, that could be enticing, but that would really signify, I think, the end of Devontae's time here in Charlotte. The day Devontae Graham leaves Charlotte will be a sad day for the franchise, a day that, if not handled correctly, could come back to haunt the franchise karmically at the very least. So they need to tread lightly with it. But if they were able to trade Devontae for a big and draft Davion Mitchell at 11, that could be useful. But I would rather see these guys, these 6. These are my top 6 right here. Bouknight, Sengun, Moody, Jones, Kispert, Johnson. Tolerate, I guess, any of these guys. I kind of wish the Hornets would trade the pick if they end up with any of these guys, at least at this point. And then like Davion Mitchell would really signify change with this roster, I think, if they draft him at 11. For me, as I'm recording this, the draft is a week away and I cannot wait. I'm very excited about it. It's very different energy from last year to this year, but we know one thing, that anything can happen, and I'm here for it. The Hornets drafting at 11. A lot of these decisions we made for them. Bouknight probably won't be there, so it won't be an issue about whether or not they should draft him or Sengun, because one of those boys will be long gone. You know what I mean. See you draft night. Take care. Peace.